What's going on, guys? We're back. We got a brand new United 24 video, the Battle of Pokrovsk. We are going to check this out. Pokrovsk is probably it's definitely the main focal point of the front line right now here in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine. There's theories that it's getting surrounded. It's near the AO that I deployed to earlier this year with Azov International Battalion. So this will be cool. We'll watch this. First off, you guys, go check out our fucking Discord. If you're not in this Discord, dude, you're blowing it. I'm telling you right now. We got so much cool stuff going on. We got a pets channel. We got a workout channel. We got gaming chat. We got music, mental health, outdoor, and we got all the uncensored footage that we're not allowed to show on YouTube and Discord. Check it out. Link in description. Also, real quick before we start, I released a video, or I made a video, and I guess released it yesterday, talking about the what was at the time considered the United States' 28-point peace plan for the war in Ukraine. Since then, it has been, there's still confusion regarding it, which is really weird, but since then, it's been, people like Marco Rubio have said that was never the United States' peace plan. That was Russia's wish list, basically. Okay? And then after that was released, somebody from the State Department on X released a statement and said, or made a post on X and said, that was absolutely the United States' proposal. And we still don't have any clarification quite yet. So it's really strange. And the fact that if that was Russia's wish list, the fact that it went so long and so many other government officials were like backing it because it was supposed to be Trump's and the United States, they thought it was Trump's and the US's stance and position. The fact that so many politicians actually backed it, that's really strange if it was Russia's wish list, right? It makes me think like, okay, so they're just ready to fucking agree to anything Russia says. So I don't know. Hopefully that comes to light, but I just wanted to clear that up. Let's jump into this, huh?
Donetsk Oblast, Dobropila direction, the stage for some of the fiercest battles of the summer of 2025, when Russia's boldest breakthrough met heavy resistance.
It was supposed to become the enemy's final culmination of this year.
When Russian forces punched 15 kilometers deep in early August, Ukraine unleashed Azov and a storm of rapid reaction brigades to seal a breach that had erupted overnight on deep state maps. This is the inside story of how it unfolded, as seen through the eyes of the commanders and units who took part in the operation, and how Ukraine, in a daring counterstrike, bought precious time before the fall of Pokrovsk.
The situation was critical. The enemy had broken through the...
I made a video on this a while back, but this guy is in 1st Azov Corps. That's where I'm at now, guys. No, I'm no longer with the International Battalion, 1st Azov Corps. Very cool. That's cool to see somebody represented and talking from the Corps here.
The situation was critical. The enemy had broken through the first line of defenses of the Ukrainian defense forces in that area, and there was a danger of encirclement of Ukrainian troops in the areas of Dobropilya, Pokrovsk, and Mirnohrad.
In mid-August, Ukraine's forces halted a Russian push toward Dobropila, stabilizing the front and launching sharp counterattacks that began reshaping the area. By August 16, Kyiv described the fighting as a cleanup operation. On August 24, Ukraine announced the liberation of several Donetsk villages in the Pokrovsk-Dobropilya sector.
Our first task was to establish blocking lines to prevent the enemy's movement. We managed to stop the enemy and established a final blocking line at Zoloty Kolodias, along with blocking lines on the flanks. In the first weeks, we worked to stabilize the situation, gather information about the enemy and their situation on the ground, and finally, establish the blocking positions. But the enemy still managed to penetrate our lines in small groups.
When we arrived in the sector in mid-October, we can see the Russians using the same infiltration tactic Lemko describes.
A little bit earlier, we saw two Russians, one dressed in civilian clothes, one dressed partly in civilian clothes because he had like his stop as a civilian, right, and under, well, military trousers. So spotted, at least by the drones, they would come out of, some underground pipelines, and they would kind of like roam around and try and infiltrate actually the Ukrainian side. They go by like really small groups, like either like 1, 2, 3 maximum, kind of spread out. And the idea is that, the drone's going to try and hunt them, but they can still breach into Ukrainian defenses.
After we stabilized the situation, the commander-in-chief decided to conduct an offensive operation with flanking strikes in the salient. Units from air assault forces, unmanned systems forces, and other units joined us. Azov united all units within the area and the sector. We sent our liaison officers to other units and command posts. We helped them. Sometimes they helped us, and we all united to achieve this common goal. In early September, we began conducting counteroffensive actions.
Ukraine had to swiftly deploy most of its elite forces to cut off Russia's 51st and 8th armies, supported by naval reserves. As of September, Russia had 1st and 8th.
Hold on, that's a really cool breakdown right here. So 1st Azov Corps, NGU means National Guard Ukraine, 25th Airborne Brigade. There's a lot of foreigners in the 25th. That's the one in the bottom right, or the bottom right of the Ukrainian list, Ukrainian forces list. 93rd Mechanized Brigade, very good. 79th Air Assault Brigade. Those guys are incredible. All these guys are very cool, but that's some serious manpower using all these units. The 14th Shavona Kalina Brigade is falls under the banner of 1st Azov Corps as well, so that's cool. So there was a couple units from 1st Corps there, a couple brigades from 1st Corps. And then Russian forces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different units.
Armies, supported by naval reserves. As of September, Russia had reportedly lost 3,185 Russian troops, of which 1,769 were destroyed, and also 969 units of weapons and military equipment, according to Alexander Siersky, the commander-in-chief of Ukraine's armed forces. Lieutenant Colonel Lemko puts the figure higher.
Over 2.5 months, the enemy has lost over 10,000 personnel in the area, both wounded and killed in action. They also lost hundreds of vehicles, and I'm not even counting their UAVs. We have also captured over 100 POWs by encircling them. I do advise you to go to the 1st Separate Assault Regiment, to the Da Vinci Group. They just do wonders. They have cut Russian logistical routes for Russian personnel, and it's due to their efforts that we managed to encircle those Russian troops.
1st Separate Assault Da Vinci. So I wonder if that's the same as Da Vinci's Wolves. That was a part of 3rd Assault Brigade. Let me move my head here. You could see both chevrons that are on this footage. That's definitely, this chevron on the top right's definitely I would think it's a Da Vinci's Wolves chevron.
There.
The Russians wanted to cut Ukraine's logistics between Kramatorsk and Dobropila. Ukraine would give them a taste of their own medicine by cutting theirs from the rear.
We split the operation into stages.
Sorry. I know you guys you guys don't hate when I pause it, but there's a couple of you who are pretty vocal about it. I just want to see this again.
Of their own medicine. By cutting them between Kramatorsk and Dobropila.
Okay, Kramatorsk and Dobropila. Kramatorsk is further down here in the south. That's closer to where, near where I was deployed this summer. So I never actually made it this far north, if you will, up towards actual Pokrovsk, Dobropila.
Ukraine would give them a taste of their own medicine by cutting theirs from the rear.
We split the operation into stages. In the first stage, we cut off the flanks, the furthest salient, and carried out a comprehensive clearance of the settlements. Enemy forces remained in the wooded belts, and clearing there took longer. First, we blocked their advance in depth, then executed a second envelopment and severed the main ring. Several assault units were involved. The 225th, its 1st Battalion, and our regiment, with the 425th Separate Assault Regiment operating slightly further down. It was a complex operation. The position couldn't be held, so we conducted it in 2 phases. Initially, we advanced with mechanized brigades. While the enemy concentrated on that mechanized thrust, we held the sector with small groups and gradually destroyed or captured the enemy forces trapped in the encirclement.
Throughout September, Ukrainian troops used a pockets-first tactic to isolate and eliminate Russian groups around Pokrovsk and Dobropila, with steady map gains confirmed by open-source analysts. From mid-September to early October, Ukrainian advances pushed back Russian units near Volodymyrka, Shachove, and Nove Shachove, while minor clashes flared around Nikhanorivka and Zoloty Kolodyazh.
It was supposed to become the enemy's final culmination of this year. They wanted to reach the settlement of Barvinkove, cut off Slovyansk, and
That's much closer to where I was deployed. Actually, yeah, right over here. This general vicinity.
cut off Kramatorsk, to finish the year with a victorious achievement. We prevented it.
This feat wouldn't have been possible without the infantry.
Our fighter with the call sign Jockey got into hand-to-hand combat with the enemy. He ripped the automatic rifle out of his hands, bare-handed,
Oh, that was him?
burned his own hands, and then, using the enemy's knife in that close fight, stabbed him. I killed him, he said afterwards. He's just an ordinary person, not some professional military guy. Killing an enemy in hand-to-hand combat is something else. Many people's psyches shut down, and they go into shock. But he stayed focused, a real champ.
It's no secret that Ukraine faces a critical manpower shortage in the infantry. It's part of what's led to the breakthrough alongside Russia's massive deployment of troops in this front to try to break Ukraine's defenses around Pokrovsk. These guys work in this direction.
Forget about big movement of troop. Forget about this big column. It doesn't work for Russians. It doesn't work for Ukrainians either. Now, for Ukrainian armed forces, as for the Russians, actually, it's better for them to move by a group of 2 or 3.
You have to have nerves of steel and serious stamina. The first mission, 11 days. The second, 4 days. An open trench, a small dugout. That's where we held the position. It was small, hard to notice. That's where we ended up. The Russians shelled us. They knew our location. There were direct hits and everything. But we held our ground.
Assault troops had to add gas masks to their kits to survive chemical attacks, as if FPVs, shellings, and enemy assaults weren't.
Just for the record, these chemical gas attacks are they're ramping way up. The reports that I get from units in zero line positions that you need it's 100% mandatory to have a gas mask now because they are using chemical weapons across the board.
It's enough.
When we're holding positions, the enemy often drops gas on us, trying to smoke us out of the trenches. They use chemicals, gases, anything they've got. The fumes and burning munitions can also cause internal burns.
In a desperate push before winter, Russia has recently resorted to sending large columns of vehicles to break Ukrainian lines around Pokrovsk and Dobropila to back up infiltrated groups. On October 11, Russia's renewed assault near Dobropila failed with heavy losses, followed by another significant armored push on October 16 near Shachove, which Ukraine repelled.
Over the past few weeks, they have started conducting mechanized assaults instead. They use columns of 5 or 6 vehicles and send several waves. At the head of each column is a tank, covered with additional armor and a huge EW system to protect the column. However, our experience shows that this tactic has not been effective for them. Literally, a week or two ago, the enemy was actively using armored vehicles to try to break through toward us. The infantry began moving the equipment early, and our UAVs spotted them in advance. Very quickly, the UAV strike systems flew in, blew them up. They started turning around on the spot and unloading their infantry.
Going from point A to point B has become deadly. The Russians expand the kill zone every day with longer-range fiber optic drones, but the 93rd Brigade pushes back.
Yes, those are nets above the main roadways, because the Russians, not only are they FPVing military personnel, they're drone striking military personnel, but a ton of civilian vehicles, city buses, tractors, trailers, stuff like that. The Russians are just annihilating, whether there's enemy or whether there's military affiliation or not.
If a drone flies to us, how long do we have? It all depends on how far away it is. If it's far, you don't need it. It won't work. If it comes up closer, say about 15 to 20 meters, it's effective. Very effective.
Fiber optic drones are the new counterpunch. Their wide link makes them far harder to jam, letting operators strike with precision, but at the cost of reduced freedom of movement since the cable can snag. This is the only time I'll ever feel comfortable hearing this sound so close.
As soon as we increased our drone's range by 3 to 4 kilometers, our strike zone expanded. You can see the results. In a single day, we destroy up to 20 units of enemy equipment and infantry columns. And we disrupt their logistics. We can now reach their artillery lines. We destroy their artillery and stop their supply routes.
By late October, Ukraine had crushed one of Russia's biggest mechanized attacks near Shachove-Volodymyrka and regained ground around Nove Shachove. Finally, on November 2, Ukraine's forces reportedly completed the cleanup around Dobropila, eliminating Russian pockets and liberating multiple settlements across the front. Yet, let's face it, the situation is dire further south in Pokrovsk. Urban warfare is raging and the once prosperous city lies in ruins. Russia outnumbers Ukrainian troops 8-1 in their offensive. They're already in the city center. Operations like Dobropila shows that despite being outgunned, outnumbered, and out-resourced, the Ukrainian army is one, if not the most capable fighting forces in the world. However, after 4 years, even the best tactics are difficult to implement without military external support, which Ukraine desperately needs to hold the line.
You guys check out United 24, man. We love those guys. Not only is their content incredible, but they are extremely supportive of Ukraine and specifically of our unit, Azov. So check them out. I always tag them in the title and then in the description as well. So a couple things that I wanted to mention regarding Pokrovsk. He says, let's take a look actually. Let's go to Deep State. That's the map that they were using on there that we were watching. So let's zoom into Pokrovsk. Where are we? There it is. Fuck, man. I think, yeah, that's Pokrovsk, right? Am I tripping? Yeah, here it is. Pokrovsk. So you can see why this is such a dire situation. Oh, I'm in the middle of the goddamn screen, so no, you cannot see. Sorry. Right here. This is Pokrovsk. This part that's being very obviously encircled, right? Will Ukraine lose Pokrovsk? In my opinion, yes, absolutely. But the goal is not necessarily to hold on to Pokrovsk for strategic positioning. The goal is just to slow the Russian advance in any direction that they're pushing. The slower that we can have them advance, the slower that Russia advances means the more time we can advocate for more support from the West, build up more or stronger defenses, prepare, and dig in even harder. So Ukraine's been on their back foot since the very, very beginning of this war. Okay, there should be no confusion about that. Ukraine's been fighting a losing war since the beginning. Russia is a much larger nation. They have way more resources. They have more backing between China, Iran, North Korea, and several smaller countries in Africa and South America. Much larger standing military, larger population to conscript from or recruit from. You name it, in every category except for will to fight. I would say that they have they're higher than Ukraine. So the goal, hold, fucking hold the line until help arrives, man. That's my perspective. That's how I see it. Somebody else may say differently. This plan of Sweden and France selling a shit ton of fighter jets to Ukraine is very, very cool. It's very exciting, but that's a 10-year plan. The odds of us seeing those fighters in this war are not very likely, in my opinion. So we need help, and we need help faster. All right, guys, let's leave it at that. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, jump into the Discord if you're not already. Link is below. I love you guys. We'll see you in the next video.